WMGAGE. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for another episode of Cup of Joe with Web3 Joe. We are on episode 7. I am Gambler, your host. We are here every Wednesday, every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, doing our best to chop it up with leaders in the space who can give us some insight into how you can get started working in Web3. These spaces are powered by none other than Web3 Job Ops and Events, your headquarters, hub, home base for Web3 talent and recruitment. I got at least one open role pinned up top, along with the spaces, along with the Luma link to our 2 side events going on during ETH NYC this week, actually. So the coffee meetup actually just took place today, and the next one is going to happen on Thursday. That's pinned up top. Make sure to check it out if you're in the area. Always a good idea to tap into IRL events, meet some new people, expand your network. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We got a very special guest here with us today, none other than Ms.NFTy. She's the California president of Stand with Crypto. We're going to be talking about Stand with Crypto today. She's also the Learnville App founder, and she's a United Nations speaker, as well as just a homie, friend, and all-around great person. So, Ms.NFTy, thank you so much for being here today. Hopefully you can hear me. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How do I sound? I'm in my car, so I just want to make sure the audio is good.
Sound
Excited
good.
to be here. Yay. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for my morning cup of Joe. Hello.
How are you doing? Where are you headed?
I am actually just headed to the gym because I love to eat burgers and tacos. And apparently they're not the greatest for you in the middle of the night, but if I work out, I got balance. I got balance.
Well, there's no way we're cutting out burritos and tacos. So whatever it takes to make that happen is definitely the move. Especially you. You're in like SoCal. You guys have the best freaking Latin food. Oh my god, it's not even
Oh,
fair.
listen, that is life. It's either a burger. You can lure me in with burgers, fries, and tacos. That's it. Like, hey, Carrie, what are you doing? Nothing. Do you want to eat? Yes, let's eat.
Boom. Well, look at us. Look how privileged we are here. I didn't even have to bring any burgers or tacos or fries to get you to show up and say what's up on today's Spaces. So shout out to you, and shout out to you for being on your way to the gym as well, because a good life balance, work-life balance, balance of being outside, on professional life, all that good stuff is super important to being successful in any space. So, also, I shared a few top of mind announcements. I know you've got a few top of mind announcements as well as they relate to Stand with Crypto, things going on this week that people should be aware of. We can go into it more later, but anything you want to touch on right now as we get started?
I just want to say it's Wednesday. We're going higher in crypto this week. Everything looks amazing. Just don't stop. Like, you know what I mean? Little pieces of growth in this space that we see, from legislation to just the prices, and base. There are a lot of exciting things being built right now and things being implemented right now. So almost in any lane, I can't think of a lane right now that there aren't job opportunities. Since we're talking about Morning Cup of Joe and job opportunities in Web3, there is literally no space where there isn't somebody hiring. It's just a matter of finding your little space within our space, to get it done. So just continue to talk and build with community members and people that you don't even know. I mean, people that are here in the audience, you'll find something that you never knew existed. And you're like, wait, I'm amazing at this and I can apply it to Web3. So keep your eyes open and speak out. Your voices need to be heard about what it is that you do, what you love. Even you may not even have identified your passion yet. There are a lot of people that have never identified their passion or known that their passion can make them money or how it can make them money. But being able to talk about it allows other people to hear it and they apply their perspective on it and they say, hey, you could make money this way. And it takes those conversations to happen in order for you to see.
Absolutely. You already touched on so many like super important points. Like, first of all, I always tell people like whatever it is you're doing, it's needed in Web3, right? It's needed somewhere for sure, right? But like it's absolutely, if I could be sure about one thing, it's needed in Web3. Like bring whatever it is you're doing, we need those skills in this space. And then the other part of like jumping into spaces like this, if you're listening right now, we also upload these on Spotify and YouTube as well. So if anyone's listening on Spotify and YouTube, we haven't pushed those channels out that much, but if you are, bonus points to you. But showing up, listening to stuff like this, as well as IRL events, I also, there's a couple new pinned up tweets right up top, which are IRL events not in New York, but these are in SoCal around LA and West Hollywood. Can you tell us a little bit about these, Ms.NFTy? See Crypto Day of Action and Humanity Verified, New Friendship Tech, Web3 LAD.
Yes, yes. So first of all, Stand with Crypto has initiated a national day of crypto action. And so that day is this Thursday, which is tomorrow, August 14th. So the entire day, think telethon back in the day, right? When we were raising money, but we are calling on all crypto natives to email, call, tweet policymakers about how we want their support for legislation in Web3. And so if you go to standwithcrypto.com, you literally put in your zip code and it'll show you who your policymakers are and it'll grade them. So it'll say, hey, you know, so and so is an F as it pertains to crypto. That means that they are not supportive of crypto. And then you can click, I want to send them a letter, and it immediately sends them a letter. There's nothing else that you have to do. It is so simple. It is so easy. And so what we're doing outside of that is in IRL in certain states across the United States. We are hosting IRL activations. In LA, we are hosting one in Studio City. And we will have all kinds of retro telephones that I ordered. We are going to be capturing content of us calling like a telethon our legislators and saying, hey, support us. We'll be tweeting. We will be emailing. And so this is a moment for us to say, and be powerful and let them know that we're here. And we want them to continue pushing this forward for us, not just this Clarity Act, this Genius Act. Like we want to continue pushing the envelope and so that we can be the most innovative country.
Oh man, what a year it's been. We've had the honor of having you on at least around one of those events. I think it was for multiple spaces. We got to share a stage around the Genius Act as well as the Clarity Act. And I bet it just means the world for people like you and teams like Stand with Crypto that are out here on the front lines, pushing for change and pushing for responsible regulation and some sense of guidelines on how to move forward. And it really is. It's like first slowly and then suddenly, right? Now all of a sudden we look up 2025. We have the Genius Act. I think it's near. It hasn't officially cleared yet, right? It's like it passed the House or Senate, I believe. Is that right?
Correct. We have
Okay.
one and we're pushing for the other one to be done.
Okay, beautiful. And the Clarity Act, right? Because things move so quickly here in this. But the Clarity Act passed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. I think that was in January. So love to see it. Things are happening. And then that's on Thursday. So that's tomorrow. And then obviously with Stand with Crypto, you guys are encouraging outreach, communications year round, obviously. And you guys make that easy. Check out the Stand with Crypto page. I have their pinned tweet right up on top regarding everything about tomorrow. But you guys encourage this year round. Tomorrow is just like a day of organizing. You guys are trying to rally everyone, bring everyone together to kind of be that much more effective, right? Right.
Right. I just want to clarify one thing between the Clarity and the Genius Act. The Genius Act is the one that has passed, and Trump has signed that on July 18th.
Ah, okay.
The Clarity Act, we have passed the House of Representatives, but it has not been signed into law yet. It still has to go through Senate.
Okay, boom. There you go. Appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
We need a timeline. Eventually, we're going to get a timeline. Eventually, we're going to be looking back at like. So wait, so does that mean was the Genius Act? I don't know. It probably wasn't like the first official regulation, was it? We probably had some other stuff going on. Oh, right.
It is officially the first regulation or legislation for crypto. That is what it's coined as. It's focused
Wow.
on stable coins.
Wow, that's it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's still sinking in clearly as I'm here. It's been months already. Well, I think July, right? We're in August, so I guess fair enough. Um, but eventually, these things are going to stack up. We're going to see more mass adoption. These things we've been talking about for months, and like you said, it's a great opportunity. I mean, arguably one of the best times ever to actually get out there and join a team that you're passionate about, add some value. So I would love to. Oh, and a little bit about Friday, right? Friday's going to be a meetup as well to kind of follow this day of action tomorrow. That's going to be in West
Correct.
Hollywood.
Correct. So Friday, WorldCoin is establishing its first flagship location, which will be in West Hollywood. And so it will be a community gathering and celebration in West Hollywood. So Thursday is our day of action. Friday, we celebrate with their community and our community for the first flagship location, which is an amazing, awesome location. It's huge. It's right next to the Pacific Design Center in Los Angeles, or West Hollywood, technically. So we get anybody from San Diego, San Francisco, New York, fly out. You got a couple of days of fun out here in Cali, the beautiful sunny Cali.
So you said day of action tomorrow and day to party on Friday.
Yes.
After the
Yes.
action, though, you got to do the action part. That's important. You
we
got it.
we're putting in the work, and
Exactly.
this is kind of how I look at it for eating and going to the gym, right? Like, you have to earn that burger, you have to earn that taco. So I got to put in the work in the gym, just like we need to put in the work to let policymakers know what we're doing, who we are. We are their constituents. They do work for us. And I will say that one of the greatest ways that I see we've been impactful with Stand with Crypto is we are identifying real people, real examples of constituents to senators and Congress members, saying, hey, I'm in your district. This is what I'm building. Hey, I'm in your district. I'm afraid to build because I have no regulation and I don't want to get in trouble. And therefore, I'm missing out on the opportunity to have this innovative career path, and or just simply invest in because I don't want to be prosecuted for some odd reason that I could have never thought about before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important that we have teams like Stand with Crypto and people like you on the front lines, and days of action like tomorrow, and people listening. Shout out to Crypto Cam and Sticker. You guys have been rocking in the audience. We love to see you. Anybody listening to the recording. I do want to refocus a little bit on like talking, getting hired in Web3. So like, can you tell us how you got started with Stand with Crypto? So obviously you're the California president, crushing
Right.
it across
Thank
the
you.
nation, across the globe. So how did you get started with Stand with Crypto?
Um, it's reputation and community, quite frankly. So doing what you love, which is kind of what I referenced earlier. I am passionate about making an impact that lasts longer than my life. And for me, that looks like educating, exposing people to career paths and opportunities that they never knew existed before, that can make a generational impact for them, not just a today, I got to check today, right? And so what sparked from that is Learnville, which is my nonprofit edtech platform. Which also sparked from that is more participation in, for example, the ApeCoin DAO, so that as I'm learning in this Web3 space, I'm also growing and I'm building relationships with people. And then in the state of California, I ended up being approached by a senator a few years ago, who is the first senator to pass any policy pertaining to blockchain. And I think 90 something, early 90 something. And he wanted assistance and created this WOW3, which are 3 women in Web3 that could advise Senate in the state of California on ways that blockchain could be better used to serve constituents. And so we gave him about 10 ideas every 12 months about how the state of California can use blockchain to better serve constituents. He invited us there to speak at certain events that he participated in to help support his mission and innovation for the state of California. Talking about Senator Bob Hertzberg. And someone saw me speaking there And then it was a chain reaction. DIFA is an organization called Digital Innovation for America. They reached out to me and said, hey, we need more awareness about Web3 and crypto, and we want to change the narrative of crypto bros. You know, you are a woman, you are using it for education, and to do it for good. What are the ideas? What are the problems that we can solve using crypto and blockchain to better our lives for just human beings as a whole? And so they shot a national commercial that launched on CNN during the DNC last year. And then there was just more awareness about what I was doing and what I stood for. And someone recommended me to stand with crypto. So I think just fueling your fire, doing what you're passionate about, people can see it, right? If you're trying to prove you can do something or prove that you love something or that you just know something, you don't get that same energy as you're just passionate about it. And when I see someone passionate about what they're doing, I want to work with them because I know they're going to find any solution to get the yes that they want. They're not going to be stumbled by a no. And those are the team members that I want. We're going to get the answers that we want, not what some one person or one company says. We're going to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, that's so real, and so much of like your story shares a lot of your story shares a lot of insight into like just basic things that we're kind of taught growing up. But I think in Web3, I think it just the reward is exponential, but also the work is more as well. And what I mean by that is like when you get into Web3, if you're somebody that really is willing to put your head down, focus on a specific team goal, mission, value, and push that forward and genuinely use the skills you have to advance that, I think you're rewarded like exponentially more and exponentially quicker and exponentially more effectively than just like in the regular world. And I think that's partly because we're so social media native. We're so, I mean, just social in general, events, online spaces, connecting with people the way you got connected with Stand With Crypto. Somebody saw what you were doing and said, hey, like you would be a good fit here. And it just makes sense, right? And things move, things happen. So I think if you are that person, or if you are somebody listening and you are interested in working in the space, like it's things that you can do. It's things that you're in control of, and you can shift or improve to kind of make it that much more likely that you end up exactly where you want to be. So I want to ask, like, what are some of your favorite milestones? Like, since you joined the crypto space, since you started working with Standard Crypto, what are some of the things you look back on and like put the biggest smile on your face?
Um, Speaking at the United Nations last year, and I got to give the closing closing talk, if you will, at the United Nations last year. And I am not technically nervous. I normally don't need to prepare much because it's in my spirit. What I'm talking about is in my spirit. And at first, I was just like, okay, yay, it's another speaking thing. And then I spoke to my friend, John Hope Bryant, who has a foundation for financial literacy. And he was like, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. United Nations is a big deal. And I got really nervous. And I'm sharing this so that maybe some of this statement that he shared with me will help you guys if you ever feel uncomfortable or nervous about a situation. But I was really nervous after I realized that it is a big deal. This is, a milestone. This is important. He was like, remember this. They asked you to speak for you, for who you are, not who you want to present to be, but who you are intrigued them. Who you are made them say, we need this woman to come and deliver a message to the attendees. And so be yourself. Give them what they're asking for instead of trying to create something or be something that you think that they want you to be. You already are that person, or you wouldn't have been invited. So that was a big deal for me, and made me feel like, yeah, I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing here in this space. And then coming on with Stand with Crypto is a different milestone as well. Now I'm veering more into the policy side of things versus the Web3 community. When I say Web3 community, I mean, I was very active in BAYC, VFriends, and Meebits, etc. And now this took it to another level. Like, hey, if I want to enjoy these communities and I want these communities to push forward and we are not afraid of doing anything illegal, then I have to also be able to push it forward in terms of policy to make it a safe space. And so I'm, one of the people that minted out Gary Vee's project, which is VFriends. And he had a great vision, still has a great vision for VFriends, but he was stalled due to policy, due to getting letters from SEC saying, hey, you can't do this. Now we're going to be investigating you. Is owning a VFriend, are you dealing with securities now? Because you're saying that they'll have a percentage of ownerships in this new brand that you created. And so that caused a lot of community members to be like, hey, you didn't do what you say you're doing, but how can you, when SEC is coming after you and sending you a letter and showing up at your office and saying, we're keeping an eye on you, we want to know what's going on, we want to look further into this, right? And so that's impacting the community as a whole, the Web3 and the NFT and the crypto community. And so now being able to identify that and say, okay, well, I want to do something about it, because we can sit in the community and complain about it, or we can choose to take action. And so I feel like taking the position with Stand with Crypto allows me to push forward and do some bigger things when it comes to pushing for policy and talking to our representatives and delivering messages from the people, so that it's really, I'm boots on the ground, right? Before having any position with Stand with Crypto, I'm hosting events, I'm bringing inner city communities to Web3 conferences all over the world, Europe and the United States, Canada. And so I'm able to talk to and communicate with people and say, hey, what is it that you love? What are some great ideas that you have? And people have different ideas and solutions based on their geographic location. So people in Europe, they had different ideas and were working on different projects, much different than the people in the US that I met and conferred with. And so hearing all these different perspectives and putting them all in this pool of information that I have allows me to come up with ideas that I would have never thought of on my own, right? And so I think that there are people that are great in the communities, and pushing them forward, the community pillars, but then we need the people to actually push for the policy to make it a safe space for us to keep going. In the state of California, we have an SB 97 is what it's called. And it is for digital assets, but something that is kind of in the fine print is that in this SB 97, NFTs shouldn't be considered a crypto token, and the rewards ones, right? So they're looking at rewards tokens like, hey, if you buy $100 worth of this, we'll give you $5 worth of tokens. That shouldn't be anything that should be taxed or considered an asset. It is an earned, it's a royalty, not a royalty, it's a reward. And so that's something that I'm working on right now, is educating our policymakers in the state of California specifically to say, hey, we want this fine print addressed. Rewards tokens are not an asset and they're not something to pay taxes on. It's just like if you get points at the grocery store or, Bath and Body Works, and they say, hey, when you spend $100, you get $5 back, or you get a free item. And so we need to kind of carve that part out of it.
Wow, just the thought of that, like the idea and the concept and the level of education that it's going to take to educate an entire generation nearly, right? It's a mixed bag, but on this not new technology, but it's new technology to them, right? And it's not as, I don't remember what it was like when the internet first came out, but I was around, and I imagine that this is way more complex than explaining the internet. Because I think the internet, well, I don't know. I wasn't there. You had to create websites. And it wasn't as too intuitive as it is now. So I don't know if anybody has any feedback on that. But it baffles me. And I guess you needed a whole new set of regulation for the internet as well. So
Right.
um,
And
it's amazing. Go ahead.
It's hard because you can't think of every situation that can come up at one
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
time, right? And because of this administration being involved in crypto in a personal token, that's created a uphill battle for us. And so instead of looking at crypto as this innovative tool, it's looked at as a Trump thing, right? Which can cause a lot of people to be against it, is what I'm seeing in policymakers' minds right now. And so this is where you all become so important and so imperative when it comes to relaying the message to them and saying, hey, it's not a Trump thing, it's a people thing. Crypto and Web3 and blockchain helps people. And so if we can kind of be in the forefront of their minds and say, hey, I'm so and so from this county, I'm so and so from this state, and this is what I'd like, or this is what I do in Web3 and in crypto, or how I use it, or how it's impacted my life, or I'm not in it because I want some regulation. Seeing those messages, seeing those tweets makes a difference. I believe that is the only reason why we've gotten to this point as it pertains to policy, the Genius Act and the Clarity Act. You know, Stand with Crypto flew out entrepreneurs from all over the nation to DC to meet with Congress members and their teams to talk about what it is that they do and why it's important to them. And I believe that that directly impacted how we got here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you go together, right? You said it at the just to tie it back to the initial question that got this conversation going, like your milestones. You said it at the beginning of this space, and you said it on other spaces before, that your mission, your drive, your North Star, in my own words, is like to leave behind a positive legacy, right? And you did that when you were able to go speak and represent your people at the United Nations. You did that when you were all these different communities, which you're still a part of, and Be Friends and all these different places. You've also told the story of where you onboarded, I believe it was your housekeeper to Be
Yes,
Friends, and she was able to mint, flip, and make a significant
she bought a house.
and
She bought a
she bought a
house.
house. Yeah.
My
So
housekeeper, literally, I when Gary Vee was, pushing before he was minting, and I was trying to explain it to my housekeeper, and I said, listen, if you lose your money, I will give you it. And I think it was about $500. And I was like, I promise, just let's open the door, And she lived in an apartment with probably, I think it was like 7 other family members. And within a matter of 6 weeks, she was able to sell it. And she bought a house. The house is maybe like an hour and a half away from, the city where I was in. But that changed her family's generation. That was a generational impact. She owns the home. Her family owns their home now. And I mean, she's no longer my housekeeper. She left at that point, but this is what I do it for. You know what I mean? People that were buying ETH at $1,000, just a year and a half ago, and started buying a little every month, $20 every month, they're changed today. They are open to the space. Now they see. What is ETH at today? 4,600? Something somewhere around there. But those
well,
ones you need.
your housekeeper is a better trader than me. So shout out to her. I need to take some. When's her course coming out? um, but seriously, it's like, again, more lessons to learn from what you're saying. Like, you have your North Star, and you are not in crypto to be in crypto. You're in crypto to use it as a tool and a place and environment that can help you accomplish that mission of leaving behind a positive legacy. And that's all you've been doing. And I say that to say, for anybody listening, that that's exactly the path that you should take, right? Focus on what's important to you, not necessarily it won't be the same mission and goal as Ms.NFTy, but what's important to you. You find your North Star and use Web3 as a tool to get you there. Jump on spaces, even if you're just listening and not speaking. Go to IRL events, reach out, send people DMs, cold DM, jump on LinkedIn, update your resume, contribute, right? We talk about that all the time. So I just listed off a bunch, but specifically Ms.NFTy, for people listening, and shout out to Lightbulb and Sticker and Joe and Queen and Crypto Cam and anybody listening to the recording. We'll be on for another maybe 10 to 15 minutes or so. But I want to ask you directly, even though you've covered it indirectly a lot already. Like, what are some ways that people listening could get started working in Web3?
Be committed to being a forever student first. Technology and innovation changes every day. I commit a lot of hours on a regular basis just to research and development, because I may know something today, but I want to stay with my finger on the pulse of where this industry is going and how it impacts the rest of the world. When I first started, I was doing research and development maybe 5 hours a day, and I did get to a point where it impacted my personal relationship. But balance, right? And so I had to work through that balance. But I was just so excited about all of the things that can change with this technology. So be committed to being a student first. Never think that you are a master. Second, be in these spaces where you can identify and see reputable people that are building for something that you care about, that resonates with you. So for me, it may be education. For you, it may be somebody in the arts or somebody in science, DSci, right? Dealing with DNA, or it may be having to do with farmland and produce and how blockchain impacts that, and tracing where produce is being grown and how it flourishes in certain environments. And so when you find out what niche you're in based on your passion and the credible people in the space, then reach out to them, right? And ask questions. Most of the people in the space want to offer information and provide access because we want it to grow. We want more builders and leaders in this space. We need more of us to be able to understand and have access to this. And so from there, I would say participating in IRL activations. One of the pillars that I pride myself on in hosting activations is experiential. I don't want us to just meet and have drinks and talk, right? We've done that forever, but how can we be more impactful in building stronger bonds between community members? So creating memories together and experiences that we've never had together, so that I get to know who you are outside of just getting an answer for Web3 from you. But that sparks our relationship. I'm more empathetic, I'm more compassionate, I'm more understanding of who you are, and then I can receive information in a different way from you when you deliver it to me, and that makes a difference. So don't underestimate the IRL. Yeah, I think those three things.
We're gonna find a lot of people at these events that you're hosting, like just yelling at each other into each other's ear, just because they're so used to it from like the regular events that we're at. And like, dude, you don't have to yell. Like, it's good. Music's at a normal level. We're actually like doing a scavenger hunt right now. Like, oh, my bad, my bad. But
Yes.
I love the way you said that. Like, first of all, you said stay committed to learning. Like, that's anywhere and all, everywhere and anywhere and everywhere. Be committed to learning, be passionate. And like, that's a good tell too of like how passionate you are. Like, if you're feeling like it's a drag and it's like you're not passionate to continue diving in and learning more, especially in an industry like this one that changes so quickly every single day, then like that maybe is something you should take a look at. And then participate, like you said, and then like you can even take it a step further to what you're doing and like actually host, get your hands dirty on that in that sense. And when you do, encourage yourself to go outside of the norm of just drinks and music, which is awesome, and there's a place for that. But
Yes.
you can make yourself and your events stand out that much more and create bonds that are that much more effective, which is really the goal. If you get maybe just a little bit more creative with it, like you said. So, Ms.NFTy, I know you're an expert on this. Like, what are some of your favorite events that you've ever hosted?
I am not an expert.
Well, you
I'm a
you are you are. I would say you definitely are compared to me, and I think you're being a little humble because I think you are in general. But go ahead.
um I will say San Diego's scavenger hunt is something I will never forget, and I'm so proud of. So in San Diego, we met up or anyone who registered met up, and people fly in from all over the country to come to the events that I do, which is insanely, I don't know. I'm so humbled and honored by that. So people,
And she's not even an expert, y'all. She's
not
not
even.
even.
I had people from New York, Atlanta, Vegas fly into San Diego and San Francisco to come, but I was just so grateful. Anyway, we met up, and we broke it down, like what we're doing for the day is a scavenger hunt throughout a 7-block radius in San Diego. And we broke people up into teams. So you didn't get to choose your teammates, right? So I wanted people to really get to know each other, and I wanted to do something to cater to crypto natives. So we are normally the ones that are putting in the work and trying to teach other people. I wanted to provide an experience for all of us, even my content creators and the people that were paid to create, capture the content, did not know everything that was going on, because I know them. They're in Web3. Val, V Dizzle, she was there, but I didn't tell her everything, and she kept asking me questions. Fari, Ali, like so many people, I'm not giving them the answers because I want them to participate and have fun too. And so we met there's a hub in San Diego of an office, like a Web3 office out there. And so everyone got together there. We broke them up into teams. Everybody had their Cali Crypto Bear t-shirts on, so people working the scavenger hunt knew that they were with us. They got their ape water, and they all headed out with a sheet of paper. And so they were, for example, one was find the ape at the farmer's market, and I had a guy dressed in a BAYC outfit, and they had to go up to him and tell him, do you hold ape coin? And he's like, only when I'm bored. And then they got to claim their ape coin. And then another one was, they had to go to the park, and they had to climb to the tallest part of, like, whatever those climbing jungle gyms are. The whole team had to climb up there to the top and take a picture and post it on Twitter. And then they'd find their fellow V friend there, and they got their V friend toys. And then we did at a bar, it was a jumbo Jenga, and that was our play on blockchain technology, right? And so they had to move all the pieces, and the team that knocked it down lost or whatever. But things like that. And then afterwards, we ended up at this huge, feast at this bomb pop culture restaurant in San Diego. And we had board vodka, we had Bape beer, ape water, chipped nails, board munchies, Stand with Crypto cookies. I mean, we just had everything, Web3 IP assets and tokens that were being earned. And people had such an amazing time that other chapter presidents from other states, we had a few fly in, and they went back to their states, and they're like, I'm going to do something like this in my state.
See, we need to get rid of that stereotype that crypto people just stay inside, chronically online, don't do anything, because you had these people running around the city, climbing up on jungle gyms,
Right.
doing all kinds of cool activities. And I like the fact that you had them team up with people that they didn't get to choose either, because we all, like, given the choice, we're going to choose people we know. And I think in an activity like this, like, it adds that much more value to be able to tap in with people that and again, and even like in a Ms.NFTy event or in any event, like, you're probably just one or two people away from that individual anyway, so you might as well make the connection and close that loop.
And while we were in San Diego, regular people just walking down the street were so curious about what it was that we were doing. All of these grown adults, were wandering around in teams doing crazy things. One of the things that the team had to do was find a fire department and do stop, drop, and roll and videotape it and post it.
Man, what I missed all these videos. I need to go back and find all these videos and pictures, because that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm glad that event went well. I was able to help you get the word out a little bit. We did a spaces, which was awesome. Shout out to Fari and Board Munchies, and oh my God, the list is so long. So many people that were able to make that event happen, flying from everywhere and making it as awesome as it was. Our theme of the week is personal branding. We try to have a relevant theme, relevant to, like, getting hired, being successful in a job every week. And the theme of this week is personal branding in Web3. And I think showing up to events, being visible on Twitter, on the timeline, in spaces, goes into all of that goes into your personal branding. Like my first question is like, how important is it to be visible in Web3 and Twitter, whether that's digitally or physically, in order to maximize your opportunities?
I think it depends. Not I think. The reality is it depends on what role you want to play in this space. Because you have some of the most credible, well-connected people in Web3 that have 7 followers because they're not here in Web3 on Twitter, but they are in IRL. All right, they're having the meetings, they are moving the chess pieces. And so don't look at the followers on social media, and don't necessarily rely on who's at the parties and the networking events, because those people moving the chess pieces don't have to be at a networking event per se, right? But they have team members that are out there, and those team members can identify you or refer you to a situation that can uplift you in your goal in this industry. So I say it depends on who and what you want to do in this industry. You know, if it's design, graphic art, sure, then I think you should be posting your art on a regular basis, because social media is a free marketing tool. And now that we have Base, which I am a super fan of, I don't know if you guys have tapped in with Base and Farcaster, but post your art, get paid for it. Stop allowing Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat to take all of the money that you could be making for yourself. You know, on Base, literally, you can create mini apps. It's like a Canva for decentralized products. So create things and people will buy it from you in that second. There's no waiting for somebody to send you a check or 20% or 15% of the money that you made them. You get everything. So tap in with that if you have not already. Also, so that's as an artist, digital art, or even just a content creator, I would say put it there. And then if you are into something like DeSci, it's not about the awareness of being on social media. Most of the people I know in DeSci aren't on Twitter. They have specific Telegram groups. And so I think that finding the group that is building, or company, first, maybe it's a reputable company that's in that space, contacting their team members there, and then they can refer you to the experts or the groups, the private groups that talk about what it is that you're passionate about.
So I think if I understand correctly, it's like, number one, understand what your goals are and what you're trying to do. As always, that's like always number one. And then in terms of like being visible, it's like understand what aspects of being visible are going to be important to you,
Right.
which are not, and your goals, right? It's not always going to be having 10,000 followers
No.
on Twitter, right? It could be make sure that you're shaking the right hands at these events. It could be make sure that you have the appropriate team delegated at these events so that you can have representation. It could be being on LinkedIn. It could be being in the right Telegram chats and the right X chats.
I'll give
right?
I'll give an example. And I think the biggest key to that is you have to do your homework. That's it. So for example, before NFT NYC this year, I was just reading, doing a part of my research, right? My daily research and development. And I was reading something about Mayor Adams in New York and his stance on crypto, and him looking at doing crypto bonds. And so I was like, I need to meet this mayor because I'm going to be in New York, and I want to talk to him. And so then I researched like who he was, what his pillars were, what he cares about, who's his team, et cetera, et cetera. I get to New York and then I see that he's speaking at something. And I'm like, well, I need to speak there. And I'm literally just saying, hey, I want to meet Adams. That's all I care about right now. I want to meet. Randomly, I'm sitting at a DNA house and I'm talking to somebody and I'm trying to help them and give them advice on something. He's his assistant, his admin. And he's like, Adams would love to meet you. Then I meet Brock, and Brock is like, this is great. Okay, I see what you're doing. We need people like you. out here and giving these ideas and suggestions, and then I have lunch with Mayor Adams. But it took me to do the work and the research so that I can have a more productive conversation when put in a potential opportunity. Because
That's a great point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to reference things that I knew were pillars that mayor cared about.
Yeah, so it's like even before being visible, you can be as visible as you want in all the right places. But if you're not prepared for the conversation and the opportunity when it comes, then what good is any of that? Right? What good is any of that visibility?
Right.
So that's a great, solid, concrete example of like, and that's amazing, right? Another example of like small world, especially here in crypto, and you never know who you're talking to, just being yourself, and it connects the dots. Which it kind of sounds like, it almost sounds like magic, or when you break it down like that. But the truth is that this isn't one example of you being Ms.NFTy. This is a lifetime of you being who you are, growing and evolving, and implementing these habits over time that put you in these positions. Because every single individual you talk to and be yourself around isn't gonna be the assistant to the exact person that you're trying to talk to, right? But carrying your life as you carry yourself in a positive manner. And I think that's, not to get too deep, but I think that's really what karma is, right? It's like a collection of habits over a long period of time that just plays out. It plays out how it plays out,
Right.
We are going to be here for another few minutes. I know Ms.NFTy has to get her gym sesh going, and the rest of us have things to do as well, even if it's not hitting the gym just yet. Where are we? We talked about events being visible.
I think I can mention something about Stand with Crypto and tomorrow's day of action. If there's anybody in California, honestly, if there's anybody in the United States in Web3 at all, feel free to DM me. I am always available. I may be busy in that moment, but I will make time to connect with you and share anything that I can that I think will help you in your journey. And there are other states that we're looking at. We have presidents in many states. We would like to have a president in every state. And so I want to meet people from all of these other states too, right? To see what it is that you're doing. If you simply have an idea of something that you think would be great as a community activation for Web3, share that with me. I don't have all the best ideas and, an unlimited amount of creativity. So I want to hear and implement things that I think are amazing that come from you guys, the community. And then if you have a perspective or idea of like, hey, we should have laws about this, or why don't we have something pertaining to this in a specific state or on a federal level? I love to hear ideas like that too, because I can deliver messages from the people, right? It takes us, the people that are talking to Congress and talking to Senate, to say, hey, there's a community base that has this idea of this being a solution for this issue that we're facing. And that's just not just for the United States, but that's for across the world, right? Every country has issues, their own issues, and constituents of those countries can provide ideas and suggestions to their policymakers. These people that are in office making laws are not the people that are necessarily on the ground in crypto and Web3. So they will not know how to provide solutions or guidelines or ideas of how to make their countries better without us articulating it to them. There is a situation where the state of California had a committee for innovation and technology, and they operated for 2 years to give a report on blockchain and crypto. I spoke to one of those people and I said, something blah, 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 blockchain. And they were like thinking that blockchain was a fence around a pool.
No.
Right? So
No.
how can you be on this committee with that understanding and that perspective? So I really mean it when I say it takes us to articulate this information to our leaders of whatever country, whatever state, wherever you are in the world. They need you.
Well, there you go. We say it every single week. Make sure to tap in with the speakers that we have come on here. because they're very connected, because they're willing to help and provide insight. And Ms.NFTy just went out and directly said it. So if you're listening, please take advantage of that. Give her a follow, tap in, get involved with everything she's doing with Stand with Crypto, with Learnville, and that's one of the best ways to expand your network and create opportunities for yourself in this space. So do that, and do it with Stand with Crypto as well. Also participate in the day of action tomorrow. Go on the Stand with Crypto site, send a letter. It makes it all super easy to do. Stay tapped in so that you know what's going on year round. And of course, hopefully you were able to take some insights from this conversation and either get your foot in the door somewhere or advance your career in Web3 that much further. And even if it's just following someone in here or connecting with Ms.NFTy, that is wholeheartedly, I believe, a step forward, right? Or following the Web3 Job Ops account, which we got the Telegram link. You can always find jobs in there as well. But yeah, we've been yapping for a little minute now. I know you're probably at the gym by now, Ms.NFTy. I'll throw it back to you for any final thoughts, words of wisdom that you'd like to leave us with before we get up out of here.
Stay focused on you. A lot of people have and will give you a lot of great ideas and opportunities that sound amazing, but it veers you from your goal and your mission. And I'll give an example. Years ago, I was starting, a custom clothing company. And, someone came to me with an opportunity. Hey, will you, white label, make clothes for my company and do it, at this scale, blah, blah, blah. Amazing opportunity. We would be in all of these stores all over the US, but it did not fit my goal. My goal was to be a leader in custom clothing. And so custom clothing means you're meeting your clients, you're designing with them, you're measuring them, it's not something you can buy from the store. But it was an amazing opportunity. And I had to decline because now that's just one amazing opportunity out of many that people came to me with, like, oh, let's do this. But then I couldn't execute my actual goal, my personal goal and mission in that amount of time. It took me years longer because I was veering all sorts of directions because there were great opportunities, but it wasn't laser focused, right? And so be laser focused on your goal and your mission and say, okay, does this opportunity push me forward in executing my mission?
Laser focus. I think that's a great tip to end us on. Be almost delusionally convicted, right? I mean, it's like, but in a true vision, right? Not necessarily that next meme coin that your homie just showed you in the TG, but in yourself and your vision and what you see yourself creating. So much so that people can't alarm. So much so that people can keep you your way, right? Stay focused, and that's the greatest good that you can do for this world. Ms.NFTy, it's been a pleasure. It always is. Thank you so much for taking the time. We're going to be participating tomorrow with Stand with Crypto Day of Action. The meetup is going to be in LA. The link for that is up on top if you can make it out. Of course, we also have our side event happening in ETH this Thursday. The link for that is also up top. Make sure you're following Ms.NFTy. Follow Web3 Job Ops. LB, I see you in the audience. Crypto Cam Sticker, thanks for kicking it. Anybody listening recording on Spotify, YouTube, X, we appreciate you. We are rooting for you. And until next time, we will see you soon.